Good morning, boys and girls. I just woke up, checked online, and I don't have school today, so I'm going to use this opportunity to program and bring some tutorials to you guys. I'm Root of the Null. Welcome back to some more Python programming tutorials looking at RE, the regular expressions module in Python. And alright, if you remember from the last video, we have this nifty little program called RE testing, and it'll tell us, okay, the testing module, it found two matches for a specific pattern that we have set up in our source code. And in this case, we're going to look for the first character at the beginning of every line, because we have the multi-line flag on, right? So, the testing environment found two matches, and they are T and B, which is appropriate since our string is "this is a joke, right?" and \n. But the match highlight, so we can actually visually see what the regular expressions engine is finding, it's only finding the first T. It's not really going to display the other B that regular expressions engine found. Well, why is this? Well, that's the point of this video. We're going to fix that. We're going to end up revamping our little match highlight engine. And the way that I'm going to do this is by introducing you to a new concept. Brace yourself. And we're going to be looking at regular expression objects, or regex objects. And you can create these by using a specific function called compile. And that's what we're going to use. So rather than, I'm going to jump down here, rather than using this matched object right here, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to create a new variable. I'm going to call mine regex, and it's going to be equal to the RE module and the compile function. Now the compile function takes one mandatory argument, and that's the pattern that you're using, and the other arguments that are optional are the flags that you have in use. And we have a variable set up for that already, because in this case we're using multi-line, and we just pass that right in. Okay, so now when we have that set up, I'm going to remove this comment so we have a bit more space here. Matched is going to equal something different. Well, it's going to look like kind of different. So take a look at this line. We're using the regular expressions object that we just created rather than the RE module, and using the search function within that. Now you might be asking, like, WTF, why are we doing that? So it's interesting that the regular expression object has one option when it's using its search function to actually start at a specific position. You can pass in an optional argument to start wherever you want in the string, and also even end when you get so far in a string. That's going to be your other argument. So we've got some options here if we want to start at a specific place. And remember, we've already found this location of one pattern match, so we'll start from the end of that pattern match and keep looking through the string. We'll kind of take advantage of that in our match highlight little loop here, which we're going to build. Keep in mind, we are going to be using a loop now. So, you can see in our if statement that's actually testing whether or not we found the match, we're using these variables start and end. Well, we're going to end up using these a lot more, so I'm actually going to bring them out of the loop, and I'm actually going to introduce a new variable, which is going to have a funky name. So, start is going to equal end, which is also going to equal beginning, because I'm going to be using another variable to kind of keep track of where we're going to start to splice our string. And we're all going to set these, we're going to set all of these equal to 0. So they're set to nothing when we go through a loop. Also, I'm not going to be printing out what we find here. I'm going to be concatenating onto a string. So all of this doesn't really have to apply. I'm going to actually use a new variable, and I'm going to call mine highlight. Right now, it's just going to be an empty string. Now we get to revamp this matched process. What we're going to do is we're going to change this to a while loop. So while matched, keep in mind that the match object, it will return none if there is no, if it doesn't actually find a match. So this while match syntax will work just fine for us. I'm going to keep this line. Start is going to equal the match start, and end is going to equal the end match. And I'm going to trim this down. Rather than printing it out, I'm going to print this line. I'm going to change this anyway. I'm going to change the print line statement to equal highlight. We're going to concatenate onto highlight whatever we find, and we're going to change where we start slicing from the beginning, which at the start of this loop, remember, is 0. At the beginning, it equals 0. Going to the start of the match, and then we'll turn on the red color. And then we go to the start and the end, so we actually have the match in red. And then we're going to add on the background reset color. And actually, I'm going to end up removing the string end to the end of the string slice here, because we don't actually need that if it's going to keep adding on to our highlight variable. And you'll see how this works once it's complete, but now that that's set up, what we can do is we can rerun the match search. So I'll help you visualize this. If we grab this matched locator, if we run the function to go find more pattern matches, we can go ahead and set this to start at the end, which is what we found at the end of the first match. And I'm actually going to set an offset here. It's going to be end +1, so we don't start at the very, very end. And then the beginning of the next display is going to be the end. This is the beginning of the end. Super duper cool. Alright, so now that that's set up, we have to test what will happen if we don't find a match. Because right now we'll go up to the very, very end of the last match that we find, but we're not adding the whole rest of the string onto it. And the way that we can fix that is we can say if we're not matched, so if we finally get to a position where we didn't actually find any more matches, then we'll add the rest of the string on. Highlight plus equals string starting from the end, going to the end of the string. Awesome. Now we're going to want to modify this so in case we actually get any regular expression patterns that try to consume like everything, you know, like the dot asterisk, what we're going to do is we're going to limit this just in case anything terrifying happens. So I'm going to say if we found the end of a match, if that's actually larger than the length of the string that we're processing, then obviously something bad has happened, and we're going to go ahead and break out of our loop. Okay. Now, we don't need this else statement, but we need to have something that kind of works for it. We're out of our while loop now. I'm at a different level of indentation, and I'm going to test if the highlight is still nothing, if we didn't actually find any matches at all, then we can just say that's the string, and then at the very end of it all, we'll print out the highlight. Whew. Okay. That was a big one. But hopefully now our match highlight little engine here will find everything that we look for. Let's run this code. Python RE module testing environment found 2 matches. They are T and B, and the match highlight looks like T has been highlighted and B has been highlighted. Hell yeah! Awesome. So now what we can do is play around with more regular expressions. Let's say dot asterisk. Let's get everything. That works just fine for us. It selects everything. Let's get just anything. Okay, that works just fine for us. It's selecting just about everything. Nice. Oh, it looks like this. Oh, we gotta fix that. I gotta look more into how to fix that. All right, cool. Glad we did some testing. We can look for A. A will be found. It'll look for all of the occurrences of the letter A. We can look for all of the occurrences of a space character, obviously that's happening in between every word. And let's say I. That works just as well. Cool. So this works pretty much the way we want it to. You guys might have saw that little iffy bug wherever I selected dot, it'll find everything. And it's not displaying that in the match highlight. And I've got a feeling that that's because we're using that n+1 offset. We might just want to use the end here. Nice. That fixes it, but I set that up as sort of like a break in case anything like this happens. Okay, so now we don't have our loop. So that's going to be an iffy thing. I'll have to look into that. But for now, guys, I'm going to have to admit my defeat here and just show you what I had built and see that it does not work entirely. And we'll have to keep playing with this. But in the meantime, you have a little thing here with the n+1 that will at least look at all of the occurrences of some things. So in our case, the T and B will work just fine. That was the example we started with. And any other thing that we any other pattern that we happen to find multiple occurrences of, it will display. Just don't use the dot until we find a solution for that. Because that n+1, if we take it out, that works okay, but then if we add a dot asterisk, our program hangs because it still thinks that it's finding multiple occurrences. So our work is not done here, but we have a halfway solution. I would say more than halfway. I'd say 99%. 99.9%. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.